All right, good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am recording this session. It looks like there might have been some confusion about the start time based on the chat, and some people joined during Ryan Gorman's address. So I will be sure to blast this video out to everybody. What we're going over today is virtual tours and open houses, a real basic fundamentals of how you would create that plan, and then how you would go about the execution of, and just some best practices. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Anuj. I am the field marketing specialist here in Santa Cruz and Monterey County. And let's get started. So virtual open houses and tours save a lot of time for both agents and the buyer. Virtual open houses let buyers reach more properties in more places by ways of various platforms that show tours live via websites like YouTube, over things like Facebook and Instagram, which are going to be our focus in this session. I mean, the big three social networks in our field that everyone wants to start under, the four, we should say, are YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Facebook owns Instagram. Instagram is the largest space that's ever existed in this field, along with Facebook. And Facebook, what we will talk about, gives you the opportunity to schedule live events, so you can create a audience around the event and let both agents who have waiting buyers or the general consumer just interested in looking at properties to be able to pop in and tour like you would any other traditional open house, except now you're the one walking through virtually and guiding the consumer in whatever way you've pre-planned, as well as answering their questions. Now, obviously, rules vary from county to county. I'm not really going to get into the whole vacant versus occupied home situation. We're just going to go over best practices for a situation wherein you get to participate in videoing yourself in the property. The act of going live specifically, we have, pre-planned videos that we'll talk about to promote the event, but the act of going live for the actual event for a tour or open house creates far more traction for you within the actual systems like Facebook algorithmically on the back end, as it's an event happening in real time and will stick with more consumers who are dropping in and out. On all of the consumer studies that Facebook has done, we've found that consumers are 400 up to 400% more likely to engage with things like live videos as well as recordings of videos in full events versus something like a static slideshow. So that is something to keep in mind too, in regards to what you're building into your brand and how you reach your consumers. It's also a perfect self-marketing opportunity for an agent. We talk about content all the time, especially people in my field, the field marketing team. We're always talking about what kind of content agents can create to both reach their consumers on a market level as well as a branded level, to be that mayor of their community or that figurehead in the community, especially during these times when your consumers are probably finding it hard to stick to any one topic in particular. And especially if you're trying to keep people in traction on your pages and on your websites, we need to make sure that there's a kind of cyclical nature to everything that's being put out. You get to introduce yourself to potential buyers and grow your personal brand through events and videos like this. Potential buyers, on one hand, will get to know the agent before ever meeting them, and agents are encouraged to show their personality onto cameras, be memorable, and most of all, be honest and bring value to your audience. I'm going to remind everybody again just to make sure you mute your microphones. I'm going to go ahead and hit mute all, just out of courtesy for everybody in the group. As well as, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I will answer all questions at the end, or I'll open up the floor to questions at the end where you can unmute your mic and ask a question that way. moving back in, one of my favorite quotes from one of my more successful agents that does this on a regular basis is that your audience doesn't care about how you look or necessarily how elaborate the presentation is. What they do want is transparency, they want authenticity, and they want the real you to show up and provide relevant information on that community. And that's how you're going to be able to retain that asset in your business to be something that goes beyond just a showing. And like I said, this is something that, again, that video should be part of a plan, because every live event you do, you will get that video back. And then, what do you really do with it, right? That's what we want to go over. I've said create a plan multiple times to start. And what we're going to talk about is, just like you would have a marketing plan around a traditional opening house, you'll do the same thing here. You're going to need to let your sphere and audience know, as well as fellow agents, about what is happening and when the event is and what time it is. That's where scheduling on something like Facebook Live comes in handy. Now, obviously, we're talking about Facebook and Instagram business pages. If you don't have those set up yet, reach out to your SSA or your field marketing specialist and talk to them about converting your existing page or setting up a business page for yourself. Why is that important? Because algorithmically speaking, on the back end of Facebook and Instagram, how a business profile interacts with consumers happens entirely differently for a consumer platform and the way it posts items versus a business platform, as well as most of the things I and my colleagues will talk about in regards to creating opportunities for cyclical marketing won't happen unless those accounts are business accounts, especially things like scheduling live events. You won't find any real success, or commercial success, I should say, without having that business page. Moving on, we're going to talk about, creating that live event. Use your CRM, like InTouch in my example, to blast your sphere, reminding them to follow you on these specific channels that you're utilizing, specifically Facebook, where this event is happening. But don't just remind the real estate community on the updates as well. Blast that out to your friends on your personal page, as well as share the event onto the other channels you operate on, like Instagram, through email spheres, everything that you're using, right? Anything that you would have traditionally done for a regular open house, now you can reach a global audience by reminding them and other agents that you are networking with that this is the date and time that they can catch the live event, where you will be touring the property, taking questions. If you want to see the garage, we can see the garage. If you want to see how the back door opens, we can show you how the back door opens. All of that great stuff can happen live, and I'll be taking your questions. And then remind your audience that, hey, after this event, to create that retention, right? And create a nature of marketing out of this that focuses everybody back to your hub, which should be your website that feeds, every kind of contact me information right back into your CRM, where now that person is a part of your network getting your regular marketing. Remind your sphere through videos, posts, and everything like that you're sending out through the system that I'll be doing the live event, but if you can't make it or you want to see the tour broken down, I'll be posting an edited version of that as a video on all of my social channels the following week. I will be blasting it out to my sphere the next day. If you're not a member of my mailing list and you would like to be, head to my website where you can sign up. So now you've created 3 call to actions within this one post to prep people for an event that's happening later in the day. This way you can get the most mileage out of that live event. Update your website to remind people that virtual showings are happening and on which days, because again, we want to build everything to guide people back to that website. That's the hub of your business. Make sure your website's updated with all of the information, have a running list of stuff, and everything else that you're doing in regards to whether it's updating information about the community, updating relevant market information for the people that are on your list. All of that feeds into this system. Plan to the best of your ability what you're going to say during the live event. I'm not a big fan of scripting out to a T. You guys are all real estate professionals and salespeople. You know homes. In our example, let's say we're using a vacant house, right? You can get there ahead of time, or you've been to the property ahead of time. You know what's there, what isn't there, what you want to talk about. Have a set row of bullet points to guide you through what you're going to do. Am I starting at the front door with a little introduction, guiding into the living room, talking about, space, and break down into subsections. Don't just have information about the home. That's where the real value in these things come in. Speak about the community, the city, the county, provide relevant information to people who would be interested in living in the area, things that they would be interested in knowing, as well as for your neighbors and potential other audience members that are watching. Provide the comfort in their mind as they view this, that you are indeed that knowledge base and resource for not just market information, but for community information as well. So have key points planned out, know how you're going to go through the home, know what you want to highlight, and have a set run of how you generally know this will flow. Do that, especially before the live event. Run through it once, film that, make sure you have it, and that can be the edited version that gets sent out to the Sphere later. Or record the first, obviously you'll get a recording back at the end of the live event of the whole thing, and you can cut down to that first 15-20 minutes that is the full tour with a few questions, or the 10-minute span that is the full tour with information, and send that out as well. So there's a few ways you can play with the stuff that comes back, so long as you've prepared what the information you'll be sharing is throughout. And then, like I've said constantly, know what you're doing with that video afterwards. How are you going to use it? Where are you going to use it? What are you going to utilize it for, to make sure that you can retain people to come back either for the next one, or that just have questions about how homes are being sold, so you can provide answers to them about how the current situation in regards to sheltering in place hasn't changed your business or your brand, and you can still operate at a top tier level while maintaining all necessary guidelines. And as I've said a ton of times, as I usually say a ton of times, somehow it slipped my mind early on, practice. Practice makes perfect with this kind of stuff, and it really does. Utilize your friends, your families, other agents. Record, set up a practice event where you're streaming yourself live, record yourself. Like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy. You could even do it with your hand and your cell phone if you'd like, but I highly suggest you invest, $20 to $30 in a nice selfie stick or something, just so you can have something a little bit independent of your arm's reach to create a better view. And get comfortable speaking on camera. Know how your timbre and diction come through. Be precise and concise with what you want to say. Try and limit the nervous tics and twitches. Those are the kind of things you only get used to and good at by watching yourself do it, or in a better way, I should say, you get better at it by letting someone else watch you and provide feedback. So I've talked a ton. Let's go into how you would actually set up a Facebook Live event. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Got a great little video prepped that will talk about creating that live event, and then I'll go ahead and take questions. Let me just make sure I did that properly. All right.
That's why in this next video, we're going to show you how to set up your Facebook Live event. When utilizing Facebook Live, viewers are 10 times more likely to watch the entire video and comment. And 30% of those viewers are actually more likely to go to the next event or be at it when applicable. Let's get into setting up your Facebook Live event now. To start off, you'll want to first open up your business page in Facebook. In your top menu, locate the selection that says Create. Select that now. A drop-down menu will appear with several different options. You'll want to select Event. Now your Create Private Event window has opened up, and you'll have several options to fill out details about the event. The first is to either choose a theme or upload a picture of the property. If you have one, we suggest doing that. Next will be to give your event a name. Make this something that's easily recognizable to your clients and other additional viewers. Next, you'll be able to add a location. Facebook allows you to geotag this location if it has it in its registry. Next, you can add a description of the property. We would suggest putting details of the open house to draw in additional viewers. Next, you can select the date and time of the event. You can also add a schedule to show the duration of the event. Make sure you put a description. Finally, you have the ability to add a co-host. This would be great if you're going to have another agent host the open house with you or just host the open house for you. Make sure you check mark guests can invite friends and also show guest lists if you'd like. Now it's time to create your private event. Your event is now live and ready to review. If need be, you can change the picture or video that you've selected. You can also review all the details that you've set forward to make sure everything is correct. When you're ready, you can start to invite individuals that you would like to receive this invitation. Simply click on invite and start to check off the radio button on individuals that you would like to receive this event. You also have the option to add additional people either by name, email address, or phone number if they don't use Facebook. Then just click Send Invite. You also have the option to post to your personal page, which is attached directly to your business page, so others can start to view that. Simply start typing the information in the post box. Others can view this that view your personal page. Your last option is to copy the address of the event. And then add it to another page that you currently are following. In the post box, simply right-click and paste the web address, and your post will appear. Please make sure if you're doing this on another public page or an individual's page that you get permission to post this. But again, this is a great way to get a word out to individuals who might not have access to your business page just yet. And that's it.
All right, and that is creating the live event. So as we've gone over, right, you schedule that kind of event, and the big things are have a plan for what you're doing at the event. What do you want to say? What are you going to highlight? And most important. Second is promote that live event, just like you would any traditional open house, any traditional listing. Make sure your audience, your sphere, and all of the agents in your network, specifically for a global luxury network, make sure you're leveraging the Proxio network of global luxury agents across the globe to make sure that their buyers are aware of any virtual tours you're doing of any luxury properties. And then follow up with your sphere and utilize this video to put content on your channels. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, create a section where virtual open tours are listed and shown, virtual walkthroughs, whatever the case may be, and use that content. Just like everybody gets a commercial and a YouTube video out of their listing concierge packages, those should also be premiering on all of your channels with the driving goal of reminding everybody that your website is the hub where they can find all of this content or get to all of this content and stay up to date on not only what's going on in the community, but what's going on in your business. Especially now more than ever, we want to make sure you guys are staying top of mind and relevant with your consumers, because A, you want to make sure you're there for them so then they remember you on the other side, and B, we want to remind them that even in these times, business is still in operation and you can do everything to the best ability of your brand and still follow all of the necessary guidelines. Are there any questions that I can answer about virtual tours and open houses and the stuff we went over today? I'm going to go ahead and check the chat window and see if there's any in there, but feel free to unmute yourselves. I will send, all of this stuff in a recap. I will put 60 seconds on the clock for any questions. Let's see. Do you have any advice on using Zoom for, so here's virtual open house, like for private showings? Yeah, Zoom, Teams, whatever your consumer is comfortable with. If you're doing something private, use what whether it's FaceTime or WhatsApp or whatever that consumer is best at using. That's what I would recommend. For broader events like this, where the whole goal, right? I mean, just like any open house, it's an advertising opportunity for you and your brand. That's where something like we've talked about, scheduling that live event and leveraging it across all of our platforms with the kind of plan we've talked about comes in handy. Any other questions I can answer? I hope everybody has found this helpful. I will send out a little link to a survey in the recap. I would greatly appreciate it if everybody could take a couple of moments to fill that out. Let the management team know how I am doing in the field in these recent changes. We really do appreciate any feedback. It does help. And everybody feel free to reach out to me, reach out to your sales team. Everybody's got a great support team behind them. We're all here for you. If there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. I'll put together that recap and send it out. Thank you all so much for attending. I'll be conducting classes next week on interpreting data sources, as well as like a YouTube 100 class to feature how to set up your YouTube page if you guys are new to that. So check your Sales Pro calendar for all of that stuff being put out by me, as well as the rest of my field team. There's a ton of great education opportunities out there. Stay on top of your guys' contact and brand and business. Hope everybody has a safe rest of their week and weekend. Take care.